coffee's still a little funky. What's up with this stuff?
Still kind of tastes gross, but better than last week.
I'm back. Oh yeah, I'm back. Hey, we don't wanna go today. We wanna go
Dude.
Hey,
Hey.
what's up?
I just played WoW for like the last 3 weeks.
Shit, you're back on the horse.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Riding hard. Yeah, well,
Glad to hear it.
Yeah, well, 1.11 just came out a couple weeks ago, so that's all I've been doing. The new Naxxramas dungeon, have you checked it out at all?
No, we're still trying it down to Farian and Blackwing Lair. Like, it's gonna be a few months before my guild is even thinking about it. So I gotta live vicariously through you.
Yeah, so like you have to make sure that everyone has a particular rep requirement with a faction, which is just like this grind. And so once you get into this new dungeon, there's 4 wings and like 18 bosses to choose from to sort of like fight your way through. And the bosses are like these really great scripted encounters now, like versus how you saw in Molten Core, like this sort of like tank the boss here, DPS the boss, and then you saw like an evolution in Blackwing to like it has Diagros, and which means it would like fly between all sorts of other people who are doing too much damage, and so you learned restraint there. And then on Courage, the 3rd big raid zone, you sort of have these again, very different encounters that require a lot of individual play, a lot of individual skilled play, and you know, you have off classes and hybrid classes doing damage, and you have all these like new sort of elements, and so far Nax is really taking that sort of everything you've learned so far and building on it. What Jeff Kaplan over at Blizzard seems to be trying to do with his raid and dungeons is having very like intuitive progression, like raid-based progression, requiring you to use these skills from previous dungeons as you're going through them. So like while you're working in Blackwing right now, like all those skills that you're picking up and learning how to deal with Diagros is all going to come in handy later.
But does that mean that we have to go through like on Courage instance in order to be like good enough to handle Nax, or can we just like leapfrog?
The AQ loot is sort of designed as the set. There's 5-piece sets there that are sort of like side grade and like slightly better versions. And like hybrid classes will want to get like your druids, paladins, shamans, priests. Will want to do AQ because it's like DPS gear, because they're going to be leveling to 70 when Burning Crusade comes out later this year.
Right.
But like if you have enough people in like a good mix of tier 2 and tier 1 and like good resist gear, I absolutely think guilds can go be successful in Nax. And in Nax, of course, you're getting these like great new PvE tier 3 sets, which are like light years beyond what we've seen in the game so far. Just light years beyond.
It sounds like it's way bigger than like Blackwing Lair or Molten Core. I mean, you could do those in like one night once you really know what you're doing. But is that not the case for Nax?
Yeah, I mean, with Naxxramas, you're definitely going to be looking at like a 2 to 3 night clear, depending on how fast you can get through a wing. Like a wing is essentially 4 bosses with like a bunch of trash mobs and garbage kills in between them, and you'll pretty much clear like 2 wings one night, 2 wings another night, and then maybe you do the last 2 bosses who are Saffron and Kel'Thuzad at the very end, and so it'll be a 3 night clear. It's getting to the point where there's an awful lot that you can do at endgame, and especially the biggest concern right now that people have is going forward to the Burning Crusade is all this gear that we're going to be getting in Nexorama is going to become obsolete when you hit 70 because of the way like the item level is going to scale and the way that the formulas for what you can and can't have are going to change. And this extremely challenging Nexoramas instance could easily be outclassed by 10-man gear from Karazhan and the expansion, and then that's going to create a bunch of dissension, I think, within the player base if that is what happens.
Yeah, I wonder how they're gonna deal with more Molten Core and Blackwing Lair. Like, if they haven't been at 60 for like months, are they just gonna skip that stuff and go straight to 70? Or are they gonna take the time to like run those raids? Or
Blizzard has said, you know, as you hit 70, Ragnaros, who's the boss of Molten Core, is going to be like 10 to 15 manable. And just based on like the way resists work, you won't need to wear fire resist gear. So it could be the type of thing where it's a really easy way at 60 to start gearing. Like Molten Core could turn into the new Upper Spire. Right. And at the same time, there's always going to be stuff like, even at 70, I think people will still want to go back to AQ and kill Cthulhu because there's still some really nice stuff that drops off of him. It's the same thing with some of the trinkets in Blackwing Lair. Like there's still some great tanking and DPS trinkets that people won't want to skip. It's been a long 3 weeks.
yeah,
Yeah, it's good to be back though.
I'm glad that you're back in it.
I think I'm gonna go take a nap for a little while.
All right.
Like a long one.
You know, I was thinking of how old is the Doom 3 engine now?
2-3 years.
Because, dude, yeah, because they had to port it, and it took time to get it onto Xbox,
Right.
and that was before we were even thinking about 360.
Exactly.
So that engine,
It's pretty sweet. I will say that Prey on 360 runs a whole lot better than Quake 4 on 360.
what's the
does.
deal with that? So we don't want to spoil the story because I've been following this game a ton. You know, we did the cover story, and I didn't know where it was going exactly. And so some of it's not really twists, but the way they worked in the whole aliens and Native American story is really cool.
Help me!
Jet, I'm coming for you!
They don't use cutscenes. That's one of the things they were real big on, is we're not going to use cutscenes. We're not going to take you out of the experience.
Right.
It's like, you know what Tommy reminds me of a lot is Duke. He totally reminds me of Duke because he smarts off all the time. You know, he's like...
I hate these fucking robots.
So it's like Prince of Persia in that you don't die.
Yeah, I love that.
And I totally love that because instead of like getting pissed off and wanting to break controllers, you know, or being angry at the game, you can see a big room with a ton of bad guys in there, you know, and it's going to be tough, and you can run into the middle of it and not have to go, oh crap, am I going to have to save crawl?
I love that part of it. I wish more games, you know, now no one can really do that again without it seeming like a ripoff. But hopefully someone will come up with some other way to do some similar thing where you don't actually die in FPS, because it does. It feels great.
I really like it. I tell you why I really like it. I really like it because they were like restrained with the 3D environments. One of the concerns I had was that, you know, we'd only seen early parts of it, and that late in the game you'd be, you know, topsy-turvy going this way and that just for the hell of it, just because they could. You know, it's like, oh, we've got this toy, let's play with it. Let's see how mixed up we can make the world.
It's really cool, but it feels pretty arbitrary. Like you're going through the levels and like, I don't know. It's like, it looks like it doesn't look like a cohesive. You can't imagine that thing existing to serve any sort of purpose other than to be like a puzzle environment in the game. Like, you know what I mean? Like the level design is there to create puzzles for the player to run through, and it doesn't feel like a you know, a cohesive universe. At least at the beginning of the game, the parts that I played. I don't like the fact that they can, in their level design, just decide at any point arbitrarily to open a portal and have guys jump out of it. It's like the equivalent of a monster closet.
It is sort of Monster Closet.
You know, like.
They don't pull the behind your back Monster Closet portal.
No, they don't.
So
because I don't think they're trying to scare you. They want you to feel like a badass who's never gonna die. It very much has that kind of like Texas-based FPS, you know, Dallas development sort of feel to it.
the detailing in the levels looks much more fanciful. You really actually feel like you're in this crazy organic ship, and that's why the levels are like that, as you learn later on.
Right. The enemies could very well be Strogg, whatever. You know, they're biomechanical creatures. We've seen them in a lot of games, but I do like how well animated the weapons are. Like even the weapon models, they're alive as well. You know, they're biomechanical, and I love the fact that you don't start the game with a pistol. You start the game with like an awesomely powerful submachine gun / sniper rifle rail shooty thing. That's fucking awesome. It's so nice to start the game with a weapon where you feel like you can actually do something.
There's not like a progression of weapons where you're like, okay, I'm abandoning this weapon now because I'm going to use this one. Okay, now I'm abandoning this weapon because I'm going to use this one. There's actually places to use each one of them.
Yeah.
That rifle you get at the beginning, you'll be using the sniping function all the way into the end of the game.
Right.
Because it's useful. Like the acid gun is really effective against organic targets. And there's also mechanical parts on some of the creatures.
Yeah.
And you're much better off using ballistic weapons against them. Jeff, we sound like really positive. Because I know I have a couple of things that are keeping it from... I mean, it's not going to be a 10. I can tell you that. Because there's a few things that I was hoping for that I'm not seeing enough of. Like I was really hoping they'd play more of the Native American stuff. Not just into the storyline. But when you go on these vision quests with Grandfather, that's like something that could have been played up that was really cool. That I feel like they kind of left a lot on the table there, you know?
No, yeah, you're right. You kind of walk into a cave and there's your bow and that's it. And then you're back on the spaceship again.
Right, and they could have totally played that up and had like this really cool difference between, okay, now you're on the spaceship and now you're in some cave in Southwest America, which, you know, that would have been really cool.
It's a good game. Like if you like FPS, and especially if you find yourself playing through every Quake, every Doom, all that sort of, like you're gonna enjoy this, no doubt.
And I think one of the weird challenges they have is that the ideas that they're using were like way ahead of their time. So we've talked about them a long time. We saw Portals, like 10 years ago, but they actually did it now, and it is really cool.
Yeah.
And it does bring something there. It's better than Quake 4.
Jen, hold on. Just stay awake, baby. I'll be right there.
The first thing people always ask about Guitar Hero 2 is always like, oh, well, what makes it so much better than Guitar Hero 2, or than the original Guitar Hero? And it's, in the original, it was more of an inconvenience to play two-player.
Exactly. You're splitting the song in half.
Yeah.
And you're just watching your other guy, just like, all right, when's it my turn to play again?
Yeah.
Like, I want to play that awesome part. Why does he play that awesome part all the time?
Yeah, and sometimes it works, like on, was it the, I think the Jimi Hendrix song there.
Spanish Castle Magic.
Spanish Castle Magic.
That worked totally well, but...
Yeah, but other times it was just kind of like an awesome part, or no, more or less you do like a lame part,
yeah,
and then you watch your friend just like tear it up on his solo, and you're just kind of like, I wish I could be having fun now.
The co-op is much more like a band.
Yeah, I was right about to say.
Yeah, this song especially, or this song, YYZ.
YYZ is definitely.
That really shows off the bass part, like.
Right.
They pick the popular bands that everyone wants, but maybe not necessarily the songs from those bands that you would expect.
Right, like Kiss. It's like, a lot of people know like Rock and Roll Night and all that, but not many kids are gonna know Strutter, and they're gonna hear it and they're gonna be like, this is kick ass.
Awesome to play, yeah.
But I think the most surprising thing about Guitar Hero 2 so far is that other music groups like Konami and their Bimani team have really kind of trained people to think like, oh, here comes a sequel to a music game. There's not going to be much improvement.
It's just new songs.
All. Yeah.
Just it's the songs.
Exactly. Konami has really trained people to think that, but with Harmonix and Red Octane,
Yeah.
it's already just like leaps and bounds over the original.
Well, I haven't heard anything from Red Octane yet, but hopefully in the final build, we'll get a practice mode where you can just play by yourself. It won't count points, it won't count your streaks or anything, but you'll be able to play segments. You might do like an A-B loop on a particularly tough run
cool.
or something like that.
Cool.
Hopefully, I mean, it's a natural thing. People asked for it in the first one, so hopefully they
Right.
listen. They listened to everyone else when they said, I want bass, I want rhythm guitar,
Yeah.
I want both people to be playing at the same time.
Yeah.
So they're excellent listeners.
Totally. And is there going to be a versus mode? I heard them talking about that, like both on.
There
the
should be. I mean, I haven't heard, again, they're being tight-lipped so far.
Yeah, it's really odd seeing like a company like so tight-lipped over something like a
Yeah,
music
yeah.
game. I guess that kind of shows just how much they're really putting into this. Because if it was like, let's say, like DDR or Beatmania, it'd be like, oh, well, Konami, what do you have? New songs. All right, you want to talk about them? Sure, why not?
Sure.
Who cares? Another song by Tack. All right, whatever.
Yeah.
Is it gonna sound like the last three? Sure. why not?
Probably.
Yeah.
Another thing that I really noticed, and I can't remember, I think it was Strutter, playing rhythm section, it was some weird chord stuff going on. Like
Right.
3-button
Three
chords now,
yeah.
and then like almost bar chords.
The only thing is that I think about now, it's like, all right, well, where do they go now from here? I mean, it's not even out yet. It's not even close to being out yet.
Right.
But you got to already think like, all right, well, Guitar Hero 3 or whatever. Like, what are they going to do? Top
Maybe
of
that's
this?
when they start just putting out song discs.
Yeah, maybe that's when they turn into a Bimani studio
Yeah.
and go, here we go, you got new songs.
Yep.
Kids happy? I hope so.
Yeah. So I can't wait for the final track list.
But over
Cannot
over
wait.
55, they're promising.
Can't wait.
For just only having 7 songs, like I've put more time into these 7 songs
Yeah.
than I have just about any other game in like the past maybe.
I gave the
weeks.
first one a 10 out of 10, and I don't regret it, but I wish our scale went a little higher because the improvements that this is going
Right.
to bring with the bass and the rhythm, and I'm sure the song selection, like these guys are spot on with their selection.
Exactly.
What is the biggest change you guys are looking at going from Big Red One to stepping up to the plate for a 360 title that's a follow-up to a huge 360 title and a launch title for the PS3?
Our focus is on this game. Kind of the theme for Call of Duty 3 is to really bring the player closer than ever to what we like to call the fury of battle. We're presenting the story in a seamless war movie-like presentation, where we take a large historical event and approach it from different points of view, somewhat like one of these old 60s war movies, like Bridge Too Far or The Longest Day or something like that.
But can you tell us more about the setting, who you're going to be playing as,
Sure.
the decision to bring it a little bit more focused?
What we're covering is basically the 2 months of the Normandy breakout campaign. So basically, the last half of July of 1944 all the way through to the end of August. We play as 4 different soldiers: an American infantryman, a Canadian mechanized infantryman, a Polish tanker, and a British SAS commando, who actually you played in Call of Duty United Offensive. So we kind of bring back some characters. Each soldier has its own unique squad members that he's with, so you get to know these guys, and they all have personalities. You can see how each one of these armies, affects the other during the course of the game, because you play a couple of levels of the Americans. They do something that allows the Canadians to move forward. In turn, they do something that allows the Poles to move forward. And there's even some instances of characters from the other campaigns crossing over into different campaigns. So we could get some pretty interesting work there.
How much from the Call of Duty assets are you guys using? Like, how much access to that do you have, and how much are you building from scratch?
We still have access to all of the assets, but nothing that's going into Call of Duty 3 hasn't been touched by NARS. We're going out and renting the weapons, renting the uniforms, the actual uniforms. We've got a really exciting system where we can put a uniform on a mannequin, and using scanning technology, scan that into a 3D model, and then apply that to our characters.
This is the translation from the raw data to an actual game mesh. It's a face of a character. This is what 4,000 quads against what you were looking before is like 150,000. Comparative extraction of feature from the scan and from the color at the same time, and they're put together to get this result. And for 4,000 mesh is pretty realistic. So what is happening now, basically, is that he is keying the exposure and is telling the cameras to look for your skin. And a pattern of light, it will come up and it will be moving for a few seconds onto your face. You'll take 3 shots that will cover your entire face from ear to ear.
Okay, so close your eyes, relax. Alright, try to hold still. We're going to start the first scan right now. So it's taking all of those points and it builds his geometry of the first scan. Scanning. Yep, we're good. Alright, and this is the last scan. Scanning. Okay. You can open up your eyes. If you want to come and see, I'll show you the 3 scans, which then will be later processed and then combined to form the complete head mesh. So you can kind of see what we're getting there. And we can combine all 3 of those images and get the full wraparound of your face, and then stitch the color on it.
So we're chasing him, and by the time we finally caught up with him, he already lost so much blood.
How many times did you shoot him?
You guys! Karen, thank you so much for getting me back into World of Warcraft.
Oh yeah.
It's been awesome. It's been like the best 3 weeks ever. The thing where you guys like put me in the room and were like, dude, this is for the team.
Oh,
and,
yeah, the room.
This is the sound of support and all that shit. That was fucking support.
3 weeks ago.
How long were you in there?
I just got out now.
Yeah, you sort of smell like it.
Dude, we didn't lock the door, you know?
I was into it. I couldn't stop.
Oh, I thought you were just gonna play for a day or...
How far are you guys? You guys ready? You ready to raid?
Yeah.
I was watching a lot of TV in the last few weeks. I'm sorry.
So I've been like fucking fighting the undead and waging war on evil, and you've been watching your favorite episodes of The Price is Right.
Well,
way to level.
Dude, I'm only like level 20. I can't do that high level stuff.
That's cool. No, that's great. Thanks. No, that's great.
Wait,
Well, we're glad you're back.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll catch up. We'll
glad.
totally catch up.
I'm glad I'm back too. Thanks.
Sorry.
Luke, we'll catch up. Just like...
Game over, man.
It's good that you're back.